Part 11. The godly Garnished Empire of Shadowstein then decides to attempt to colonize the planet of Uranus, and thus the attempted colonization of Uranus is begun. The Dark King, Mordecai, watches this with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. It is a bold move. My Lord Alpha, colonizing another planet is no small feat, but I have faith in your leadership and Erebus's abilities. Together, we shall overcome any obstacle and achieve greatness. The Dark Lord, Lothar, nods in agreement. Yes, indeed, the Empire of Shadowstein has truly come a long way since its humble beginnings. With each conquest, we grow stronger, more resilient. I have no doubt that we will succeed in colonizing Uranus and making it our own. Dark King Mordecai, on the other hand, remains thoughtful and introspective. He gazes into the distance, lost in contemplation. Perhaps, he says softly, with each new world we conquer, we also uncover secrets that challenge our understanding of good and evil, secrets that force us to question the very foundations upon which we stand. His eyes meet Alpha's, conveying a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Trust me, Mordecai, if anyone were to understand good and evil truly, it would be me. After all, I've lived through nothing but it. Darkest Emperor Alpha says. Perhaps, Darkest Emperor Alpha, but I fear that the more we conquer, the more we might become like those we seek to destroy. Dark Lord Lothar replies, his voice laced with concern. The line between right and wrong can become blurred when power is involved, and I wonder if we have not already crossed it. Sometimes in order to end the fire, you must become the fire and burn it away from within. Only then can recovery begin. Darkest Emperor Alpha says, I understand the sentiment. Darkest Emperor Alpha, Dark King Mordecai replies, his expression thoughtful, but I cannot help but wonder if there might be another way, a way to bring about change without becoming the very thing we are trying to destroy. Trust me, there is no other way. Existence is just fundamentally that way. In fact, that is the very thing we are seeking to change. Darkest Emperor Alpha says. Dark King Mordecai frowns, clearly unconvinced. But can we not strive for something more than simply accepting the darkness as our fate? Can we not seek to create a world where good and evil are not so intertwined, where there is room for both to exist without constantly tearing each other apart? That is literally what we are seeking to do, no matter the cost. Darkest Emperor Alpha says to Dark King Mordecai. Dark King Mordecai looks unconvinced. But is it not also true that our actions, however well-intentioned, might have unforeseen consequences? That our attempts to create a better world might inadvertently lead to worse ones?
Mordecai, you seem to misunderstand. We are seeking to fundamentally change existence itself, to be more preferable, to be of pure peace and less pain and hardship. Darkest Emperor Alpha stresses that Dark King Mordecai finally understands and agrees with Darkest Emperor Alpha. I see. Then I must apologize if my words have caused any offense. I only meant to express my concerns and to offer my support in whatever way I can. It's fine. Just trust me when I talk about stuff like this. I've had to experience it longest out of all of us. Darkest Emperor Alpha says, you have my word. Brother, Dark King Mordecai replies, nodding solemnly, I will trust in your wisdom and guidance. The Empire of Shadowstein then begins to attempt to colonize the planet of Uranus. I hope this endeavor shall prove as fruitful as our conquest of the planet of Pluto. Dark Queen Lilith says with a thoughtful expression, I worry about the native species of Uranus, though they seem far more advanced than the Plutonians, and I'm not sure if they will take kindly to our presence. Dark King Mordecai nods in agreement. Yes, it is a delicate situation. We must tread carefully and show them respect, while also asserting our dominance. I have faith in your leadership. Brother, you have guided us through many triumphs thus far. The Dark Queen ponders this for a moment, then says, perhaps we should consider offering them a role in our empire, rather than simply imposing our rule upon them. They seem to have a strong culture and civilization, which could benefit from the protection and resources we have to offer. Dark Emperor Alpha nods thoughtfully. That is indeed a wise suggestion. My dear, we must not forget that our ultimate goal is not merely conquest, but the betterment of all beings under our benevolent guidance. We shall show them the error of their ways, but also the path to true enlightenment. These words, the Dark Lord and his council set forth to negotiate with the natives of Uranus, seeking to to forge alliances and ensure the peaceful integration of their world into the empire of Shadowstein. Meanwhile, Dark Emperor Alpha turned his attention back to Dr. Erebus, our history, experiences, and how they shape the present. "That is a tale for another time, my friend," he said with a chuckle. "But I will say this, the light has always been the true evil. They claim to bring order and harmony, but all they've ever brought is strife and segregation. We, on the other hand, seek to unite all worlds in a state of infinite understanding and cooperation. And you, Erebus, you with your thirst for knowledge and control, you are one of us. You are a god among men, and I see great things in your future, great things indeed." As the Dark Queen, Dark King, and Dark Lord continued to listen intently to their conversation, Erebus felt a mixture of pride, confusion, and a lingering sense of unease. He knew that Alpha was offering him a chance at something truly remarkable, but he couldn't help but wonder about the price he might have to pay for it. For a moment, he considered confessing his past allegiance to the God Emperors, but then thought better of it. Perhaps there was still time for redemption, as Alpha had suggested, and even if there wasn't, perhaps there was value in using his past experiences for his own gain. "Thank you, Alpha," Erebus said, nodding solemnly. "I will consider your offer carefully, and do what I believe to be best for our world and its people. In the meantime, I would be honored to hear more about your past and your vision for the future. I believe that such knowledge could prove invaluable in my decision-making process." Darkest Emperor Alpha smiled warmly, his eyes gleaming with pride. "Very well, my friend. I shall tell you of our history and how it has shaped the empire of Shadowstein into what it is today. But first, let us take a moment to enjoy the beauty of Uranus. The natives have created a world of unparalleled wonder and splendor, and it would be a shame not to experience it firsthand. With that, the two gods stepped out onto the observation deck, revealing a breathtaking view of Uranus' lush forests, towering mountain ranges, and gently flowing rivers. The air was warm and fragrant, filled with the songs of exotic birds and the laughter of the native people below. As they gazed out at the landscape, Erebus couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and reverence for the world they had been given the opportunity to shape together. The future, it seemed, was full of promise and potential. Here, on Uranus, you will find a world unlike any other. Darkest Emperor Alpha began, his voice rich with the wisdom of ages. The natives are a peaceful and benevolent people, content to live in harmony with one another and the environment. They have mastered the art of agriculture, harnessing the power of the stars to ensure a bountiful harvest. Their cities are works of art, adorned with delicate sculptures and intricate mosaics that tell the story of their history and culture. As Alpha spoke, Erebus listened intently, taking in every word and detail. He found himself drawn to the beauty and simplicity of Uranus. Yet, at the same time, he couldn't help but feel a sense of duty and responsibility to his own world. Neptune, the decision he would soon have to make weighed heavily upon him. But for now, he allowed himself to bask in the splendor of Uranus and the wisdom of its ruler. Of course, Alpha continued, there are challenges ahead. The natives are still grappling with the concept of governance, and they lack the organizational structure that we have, but with your help, Erebus, I believe that we can guide them toward a brighter future. Together, we can forge an alliance that will not only benefit Uranus, but all the worlds within our empire. As the two gods stood side by side, gazing out at the world below, Erebus knew that he had to make a choice. He could either embrace this new life and help shape the future of Uranus, or he could return to Neptune and face the consequences of his past actions. The decision weighed heavily on him, but he knew that he could not turn his back on the people who had entrusted him with their world. Your vision for the Empire is truly inspiring, Alpha, Erebus said, his voice filled with sincerity. To see such unity and cooperation among the gods of so many worlds is truly awe-inspiring. I would be honored to play a part in that, to help guide Uranus and its people toward a brighter future. Darkest Emperor Alpha smiled warmly, his eyes shining with pride. I am glad to hear that, my friend. Together, we can achieve great things. Our alliance will not only benefit Uranus, but all the worlds within our empire. And who knows, perhaps our partnership will inspire other gods to follow our lead and work together for the greater good. With that, the two gods returned to the throne room, their minds already filled with plans for the future. Erebus could not help but feel a sense of purpose and belonging that he had not experienced in a long time. As he took his seat beside Darkest Emperor Alpha, he knew that he had made the right decision. Together, they would forge a new path for the Empire of Shadowstein, one built on cooperation, unity, and the shared goal of creating a better future for all its worlds. The challenges that lay ahead would be great, but Erebus had never felt more prepared or more determined to face them. He was grateful for the trust that Alpha had placed in him, and he vowed to never let the people of Uranus down. As the two gods looked out over the vast empire, they could see the potential for greatness that lay before them. They would not squander it. Instead, they would seize it with both hands and forge a new era of peace, prosperity, and understanding for all. Then the attempted colonization of Uranus begins, as Dark Emperor Alpha and Erebus began their reign over Uranus. They set about establishing a new era of peace and prosperity for the world and its people. One of their first priorities was to address the ongoing issue of territorial expansion. It was decided that Neptune, under the leadership of Erebus's brother, Poseidon, would be permitted to colonize a small, uninhabited moon of Uranus, with the understanding that this would be a peaceful and mutually beneficial arrangement. To oversee the process, Erebus was assigned as the ambassador between the two worlds. He spent much of his time traveling back and forth between Neptune and Uranus, acting as a liaison between the two rulers, and ensuring that the terms of their agreement were upheld. As he journeyed between the worlds, Erebus found himself reflecting on his past transgressions and the road that had led him here. He was grateful for the second chance Alpha had given him and vowed to prove himself worthy of his newfound responsibility. Over time, the Neptunian colonists began to assimilate into Uranian society, bringing with them new ideas, technologies, and cultural traditions. The natives of Uranus were quick to adapt, and soon began to thrive under the guidance of the gods. The once isolated world was now open to trade and diplomatic relations with the rest of the Empire of Shadowstein. Erebus took great pride in watching the world he now called home grow and prosper. He knew that there would be challenges ahead, but with the support of Alpha and the other gods, he felt confident that they could overcome anything. As the years passed, Erebus became not only an ambassador, but also a friend and advisor to the people of Uranus. He used his position to advocate for peace, understanding, and cooperation between the worlds, always striving to make the Empire of Shadowstein a better place for all its inhabitants. One day, as Erebus was attending a grand festival celebrating the 10th anniversary of the alliance between Neptune and Uranus, he received a message from Poseidon. His brother had recently discovered evidence of a powerful artifact hidden within the depths of a nearby asteroid belt. The artifact, known as the Heart of the Sea, was rumored to have the power to control the tides and weather, and it could potentially shift the balance of power within the Empire. Erebus immediately brought the news to Dark Emperor Alpha. They agreed that the discovery of the Heart of the Sea posed a significant threat, and it was imperative that they act quickly to secure its possession. Erebus was once again chosen as the ambassador for this delicate mission, as his previous experience with Poseidon and Neptune made him the ideal candidate. As he prepared for his journey, Erebus could feel a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. He knew that the retrieval of the artifact would not be without its challenges, and there was a chance that Poseidon might not be willing to part with it willingly. Nevertheless, he was determined to succeed in his mission, and secure the future of Uranus and the Empire of Shadowstein. After weeks of travel, Erebus finally arrived at Neptune. He was greeted warmly by Poseidon, who had been eagerly awaiting his arrival. The two brothers shared a tense but cordial reunion, as they knew that the fate of their worlds now rested on their shoulders. Poseidon led Erebus to a hidden chamber deep within his palace, where the heart of the sea was kept. It was protected by powerful enchantments, and guarded by a legion of the most elite warriors in Neptune's army. As they discussed the artifact, Erebus and Poseidon's differences began to surface. Poseidon was hesitant to give up the heart of the sea, fearing that it would upset the balance of power within the Empire and potentially lead to conflict. Erebus, on the other hand, argued that the artifact's power could be used for the greater good, ensuring peace and prosperity for all worlds. After days of negotiation, they were finally able to reach an agreement. Poseidon, recognizing the potential for good that Erebus had spoken of, reluctantly agreed to part with the heart of the sea. In exchange, Erebus promised that the artifact would only be used for the betterment of all worlds within the Empire of Shadowstein, and that its power would never be abused. As a symbol of their newfound understanding and trust, they agreed to forge a formal alliance between Neptune and Uranus. The ceremony marking the signing of the treaty was held in a grand amphitheater, surrounded by representatives from each of the worlds. Erebus and Poseidon stood side by side as they addressed their people, expressing their hope for a brighter future and a lasting peace. The air was filled with cheers and applause as the two brothers embraced. Their shared history and newfound friendship now stronger than ever before. Emperor Solaris summoned his top scientists, engineers, and strategists to the Celestial Forge, using the knowledge of the recently acquired quantum fusion and the Nebula weapon. They work around the clock to create a new fleet-wide enhancement. The goal is to harness the Nebula weapons energy to provide all celestial ships with increased firepower, faster engines, and reinforced shields. This technological leap could solidify the empire of Celestia's dominance in the galaxy, as the scientists tinker with the quantum fusion core, and the engineers oversee the construction of the new ships. The strategists discuss the potential military applications of the enhanced fleet. They consider the possibility of using it to establish new colonies, secure resources, or even engage in interstellar conflict. The Empire's military might be virtually unstoppable with this new technology at their disposal. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Forge, the X3 engineers work alongside their human counterparts, marveling at the intricate designs and advanced techniques used in celestial shipbuilding. They bring with them their own unique knowledge and perspectives, suggesting improvements to the ship's energy efficiency and propulsion systems. The fusion of human and X3 expertise results in a fleet that is both powerful and incredibly efficient. As the new ships are completed, the strategists begin planning their first mission. They consider sending a task force to explore a recently discovered planetary system that appears to have high potential for habitability. The presence of a habitable world could mean not only new resources for the Empire, but also the opportunity to establish a new colony and further expand their reach into the galaxy. The Empire of Shadowstein, having run out of planets to colonize, decides to attempt to colonize the last unclaimed thing within the solar system, the sun itself, and thus the attempted colonization of the sun is begun. The attempted colonization of the sun attracts the attention of ancient, powerful beings who have been sleeping beneath its surface for eons, threatening to unleash a cataclysmic event that could destroy both Shadowstein and the other worlds. As the Empire of Shadowstein continues with its ambitious project, they begin to uncover ancient ruins and artifacts on the surface of the sun, revealing the existence of a powerful civilization that once ruled over the solar system. This discovery leads to a new era of exploration and understanding as scholars and scientists race to decipher the secrets left behind by these long-forgotten beings. In the Meantime, Erebus, now part of Alpha's inner circle, continues to learn about the Omniverse and its infinite dimensions. He grows more and more fascinated by the concept of influencing all of existence to achieve ultimate peace and harmony. Alpha, seeing Erebus' potential, begins to entrust him with greater responsibilities, including the handling of some of the most powerful AIs in existence, the attempted colonization of the sun. Shadowstein progresses at a steady pace as they delve deeper into the mysteries of the solar deity. They uncover ancient ruins and artifacts, revealing the existence of a powerful civilization that once ruled over the entire solar system. This discovery sparks a new era of exploration and understanding as scholars and scientists race to decipher the secrets left behind by these long-forgotten beings. Meanwhile, Dr. Erebus continues to hone his skills as a dark matter scientist, working closely with Gort and Sapentia to manipulate the very fabric of reality. He becomes fascinated with the idea of creating his own universe, a perfect reflection of his twisted desires and dark obsessions. Alpha, impressed by Erebus' dedication and ambition, agrees to help him achieve this goal. As the Shadowstein colony progresses, they uncover ancient texts detailing a cataclysmic war between the civilization that once ruled the solar system and a mysterious force known only as the Light. The texts speak of a battle for control over the very nature of existence, with the Light seeking to impose order and structure upon the chaos, and the ancient civilization fighting to preserve their unique vision of reality. The more they read, the more they realize that the conflict between shadow and light is not unique to their universe, but spans across countless dimensions and universes. Dr. Erebus, now known as dark matter scientist Erebus, finds himself at the center of this newfound understanding. He begins to question his own allegiances and motives, wondering if his quest for knowledge and control is inherently good or evil. As he ponders this question, he can't help but feel a sense of kinship with Darkest Emperor Alpha, who shares his fascination with the infinite and his willingness to explore the darker aspects of existence. Anyways, the primary focus of everyone within the Empire of Shadowstein is currently colonizing the sun. Their progress has been steady, albeit slow. The sun is massive and extremely hot, making it difficult to terraform. But they've managed to make some headway. They've constructed floating platforms around it, each one containing a massive solar array that collects energy from the star itself, as well as several habitation domes where the colonists live and work. The platforms are connected by a network of maglev tracks and sky bridges, allowing for easy transportation between them. As they continue their work, they uncover ancient ruins and artifacts buried within the sun's vast interior. These relics hint at a powerful civilization that once ruled over the entire solar system, a race of beings who worship the sun as a god. The discovery only serves to fuel Shadowstein's determination to succeed in their endeavor, as they aspire to become the new rulers of this vast domain. The Darkest Emperor's plans for the sun and its surrounding planets remain shrouded in mystery, but his followers have faith that he has a master plan for the betterment of all life within the system. Some speculate that he seeks to harness the power of the sun itself, using it as a means to expand his empire across the galaxy, while others believe that he intends to use the sun's vast resources to create a utopia where suffering and strife are eliminated forever. The Empire of Shadowstein, including Darkest Emperor Alpha and his advisors, all completely and utterly focus on the colonization of the sun. Days and months pass, and the platforms grow ever larger and more numerous. The colonists, a mix of humans, demons, and other beings, work tirelessly to expand their domain, terraforming the platforms and learning to live off the energy provided by the sun. As they continue their work, they uncover ancient artifacts and ruins, hinting at a civilization that once ruled the solar system and worshipped the sun as a god. This discovery only serves to strengthen their resolve and determination to succeed in their quest to become the new rulers of this vast domain. Eventually, they completely colonize the sun and are done and, for unknown reasons, begins to prepare for war with someone. The Empire of Celestia then decides to attempt to harness the power of a nearby black hole. Using the new ships with the X3 enhanced engines, the fleet is able to maneuver with unparalleled agility and speed. They position themselves near the event horizon of the black hole, where the gravitational forces are strongest. The engineers and scientists on board prepare to launch a small probe into the accretion disk surrounding the black hole. The probe carries a device that has the potential to harness the immense power of the black hole and convert it into a controllable energy source. The mission is fraught with risk, as even the slightest mistake could result in the destruction of the probe or the entire fleet. The strategists on board the flagship exchange nervous glances as they await news from the probe. As the probe approaches the accretion disk, the crew on board the fleet's flagship watch in awe and trepidation. The X3 engineers, in particular, seem fascinated by the unique gravitational environment around the black hole. They study the data feeds and make adjustments to the probe's trajectory, ensuring that it will enter the disk at precisely the right angle. The strategists, on the other hand, can't help but feel the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. Even the slightest mistake could mean the end of the mission, and with it, the loss of countless lives. They discuss various contingency plans, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. As the probe approaches the accretion disk, the X3 engineers make one final adjustment to its trajectory, ensuring that it will enter the disk at an optimal angle. The fleet's commander, Admiral Voss, watches intently from the bridge of his ship, his heart racing with anticipation and fear. All systems are go, Admiral, reports the navigation officer. The probe is about to make contact with the accretion disk. The Admiral nods grimly, taking a deep breath as he watches the feed from the probe. Very well. Proceed with the activation sequence, he says. A confirmation is received from the engine room, and the Admiral barks out the order to engage the device. With a flash of light, the probe is enveloped in a brilliant aura of energy. As if it has become a tiny sun, the X3 engineers are fascinated by the spectacle, make adjustments to their readings. The probe has successfully engaged the device, one of them says. It is now attempting to harness the energy from the black hole and convert it into a controlled form. Admiral Moss, his heart still racing, nods grimly. Very well. Stand by for updates. Helm, maintain our position. Engine room, keep a close eye on the probe's energy levels. Any sign of instability, and you are to disengage immediately. The probe continues to gather energy from the accretion disk, spinning faster and faster as it does so. The aura of energy around it grows brighter, becoming difficult to look at directly. The engine room reports that the device is functioning within expected parameters, but the X3 engineers on board caution that the probe is operating at the limit of its capabilities. We are monitoring the situation closely, the Admiral says, his voice strained. But I want to remind everyone that the success of this mission hinges on our ability to control the energy output from the probe. Any sudden surges or instabilities could prove disastrous. The X3 engineers nod in agreement. Their long, segmented bodies swaying gently as they manipulate their control consoles. One of them speaks up. The probe is nearing its maximum energy capacity. We must prepare for the transfer of energy back to the fleet. Admiral Voss grimaces. Very well. Helm, maintain our position. Engine room, stand by to receive the energy transfer. X3 engineers, ensure that the transfer is conducted smoothly and without incident. The probe continues to gather energy from the accretion disk, its aura of energy growing so bright that it casts shadows in the vacuum of space. The engine room reports that the device is nearing its maximum energy capacity, and the fleet's commander nods grimly. Stand by, he says. We're about to find out if all our hard work has paid off. The X-3 engineers carefully monitor their control consoles, their long, segmented bodies swaying gently as they watch the energy levels within the probe. The probe is ready to transfer energy back to the fleet. One of them says, "We are in control of the release." Admiral Voss nods, his expression tense. "Very well, execute the transfer." The X-3 engineers flip switches and input commands, releasing the energy from the probe back into the fleet. The energy surges through the ships, powering up their systems and weapons. The fleet commander watches the energy readouts on his console, his heart racing. "Status report," he says. One of the engineers replies, "The transfer is complete, Admiral. The fleet is now at full power." Admiral Voss exhales slowly, relief washing over him. "Very well, Helm. Move us into position. We're going to attempt a jump to hyperspace." The fleet begins to move, carefully navigating the treacherous gravity wells of the black hole system. As they near the black hole, the crew feels the gravity's pull growing stronger. The Admiral orders a final course correction, ensuring that they'll emerge from hyperspace safely on the other side. The X-3 engineers, their long segmented bodies swaying gently, check their control consoles one last time before securing them. The fleet approaches the jump point, the massive, swirling accretion disk looming large before them. The Admiral watches the display intently, willing the ship to make the jump. The stars outside the viewport begin to stretch and warp as they are drawn into the maelstrom of hyperspace. The X-3 engineers watch the readouts with bated breath, ready to respond to any anomalies that might arise. The fleet's human crew members exchange nervous glances, some crossing themselves, others murmuring prayers. The jump completes, and the fleet emerges on the other side, unharmed. Admiral Voss lets out a sigh of relief. "Report," he says. One of the human crew members responds, "We're clear of the gravity wells, sir. The fleet is now safely in normal space. We're awaiting your orders." Admiral Voss nods grimly, his gaze fixed on the view screen as they watch the black hole system begin to recede behind them. "Very well, X-3 engineer. Report on the status of the probe and its energy reserves." The X-3 engineer replies, "The probe is currently in stable orbit around the black hole, and its energy reserves are at 98% capacity. It is transmitting data back to us as we speak. Admiral, we have successfully harnessed the power of the black hole. Our fleet is now capable of performing tasks that were once thought impossible." Admiral Voss nods in appreciation. "Very good. Set a course for home, and prepare the fleet for any potential conflicts that may arise as a result of our newfound power. X-3 engineer, please continue monitoring the probe and maintaining the connection